how to drift a car. And if I knew she was going to be wearing these pants, I probably wouldn't have made this video.
Alright, do you remember how to drive a manual? Put it in first gear, let's ride. Once you get into first, that's all you gotta do. You just gotta get in first, that's it. Okay, slowly, slowly. Yep, keep going.
थैंक यू रवि, थैंक यू सो मच। हेलो
अजय ने लाइक कर दिया, उनके लिए थैंक यू।
प्लीज सभी लोग लाइक सब्सक्राइब करो। क्या नहीं बोला गॉड ऑफ की? यस हेलो
टीचर यो जो वर्ड आप लिख रहे हो वो अन्नू समझ गए।
Slowly, slowly.
Choose from thousands of realistic voices to use in your content.
World War II has many endings. For some, it ended in a Berlin bunker. For others, it happened when a formal declaration of surrender was signed in France. After these events, World War II continued to rage on in the Pacific, until a final ceremony was held aboard a battleship in Tokyo Bay. The craziest part is that World War II didn't actually end for several more years after these events for some people. In official documents and textbooks, two major events signaled the end of World War II. But what actually caused the Axis powers to finally give in to demands of the Allies? World War II started on September 1st, 1939, when Germany invaded Poland. The war was officially declared over 6 years and 1 day after this event on September 2nd, 1945. During this span, approximately 3% of the world's population would be lost. For many in Europe and the surrounding region, the official end of the war came when Germany was defeated. This was because European countries had fewer resources and men in the Pacific theater, and therefore were much more focused on the war at home. The United States and countries in East Asia, on the other hand, would continue fighting World War II for many more months. So for all intents and purposes, World War II actually came to an end for different parts of the world at different times. Obviously, the end of the war for Hitler happened when he shot himself in the Führer bunker, and even so, the fighting in Europe would continue for several more days. But how did the Axis powers find themselves in this predicament? Germany had swept across and held most of Europe for 3 years without much of a problem. It was a series of big mistakes that would lead to the end of the Third Reich and the war in Europe. The beginning of the downfall for the Axis powers in Europe happened when Germany decided to invade the Soviet Union and fight a war on 2 fronts. Hitler thought that he could easily overpower the Soviets and then focus as he retreated deeper and deeper into the frigid homeland. The Axis powers were spread thin. The brutal climate, lack of food, and the Soviets' scorched earth policy led them to successfully repel the Axis forces. The scorched earth tactic utilized by the Soviets was to salt their fields so nothing would grow, burn down bridges, and destroy any factories or buildings they thought would be useful to the enemy's advance. This led to the complete destruction of Soviet lands, towns, and cities by their own hands, but kept the Axis soldiers from getting a foothold in their country. While Hitler had his forces split on 2 fronts, the Allies invaded Sicily from the Mediterranean and proceeded into southern Italy. There, they defeated the fascist Italian forces, causing the front to collapse, eventually leading to the capture and death of Benito Mussolini at the hands of the communist partisans. Then, on June 6, 1944, the beginning of the end of the war in Europe was put into motion when the D-Day invasion of Normandy was carried out. Allied forces now had troops in northern France. It was in 1944 that the tides of World War II, where the final nail could be put in the Axis coffin, one vicious battle needed to take place. This came to be known as the Battle of the Bulge. Germany had one way out of defeat, and that was to break the Allied lines on one of the fronts. Hitler and the Nazi regime were being squeezed into smaller and smaller territory by the Soviets advancing from the east, and the rest of the Allied forces advancing from the west. The remaining Axis forces were caught in the middle of a balloon that was about to pop. Hitler decided that the best course of action would be to try and break through the Western Front. If all went according to plan, he would split the Allied line, meaning he could maneuver his troops out of the predicament they were in. This would allow Germany a way to secure more resources and fend off the rest of the Allied forces advancing from the Western Front. On December 16, 1944, the Nazis launched their surprise attack through the Ardennes forest in Belgium and Luxembourg. This offensive spanned around 80 miles and consisted of some of the fiercest fighting of the war. As the Nazi forces slammed into the Allied lines, they began to bulge, hence where the name came from. But they couldn't break through the enemy's lines. The Allies were able to repel the attack after attack carried out by the Axis tanks, soldiers, and the Luftwaffe. Unfortunately, the Nazis were not the only adversaries the Allies had to contend with. During the battle, the temperatures reached freezing conditions, leading to many soldiers developing frostbite and hypothermia. By the end of the battle, the Allies lost close to 75,000 men, but were able to hold the line. On the other hand, Germany lost between 80,000 and 100,000 men, and were all but helpless against the advance of the Soviet army coming from the east. The Battle of the Bulge was the last chance for Germany to turn the tides of the war back in their favor, and they failed. The Soviets launched their winter offensive. The Soviets launched their winter offensive.
Trump, this appears like the end game. This is the path it's all taking. Trump faces removal and imprisonment at the same time. All right. First, let's go through the impeachment article so you can comprehend exactly what Congress is formally charging Trump with. Representative Sri Thanadar introduced House Resolution 353 on April 28th, 2025. House Resolution 353 is indeed...
awarded Pulitzer Prizes for their perpetuation of this hoax. It's well past time for those awards to... And we will never forget the precious souls who were lost in this horrific...
Please join me in welcoming Olivia Walton and President Barack Obama.
Well, I love you back. Well, I love you back. It's good to see you. But you didn't tell me it gets this cold in Arkansas. Golly.
Mr. President, thank you so much for being here. I mean, it is just an honor. It really is. And thank you to all of you who were waiting for so long. We really appreciate the patience. I mentioned this to you a little while earlier, but that's my 7-year-old there in the front row.
Hey, you.
And yesterday...
I'm Michelle Obama's husband.
That's right. That's right. She said, "What's all the fuss, Mama? What are you getting ready for?" And I said, "President Obama is coming." And she said...
Let's say you're the CEO of a personal finance app. What you really need is a partner to go global, so your customers can pay the way they want.
Like Michelle Obama? And I said, "That's right. That's right.
Just like her.
Michelle's husband is coming."
It's hard to believe that she'd be married to somebody this old.
Well, she looks great. Okay, so President Obama, you're a bit of a sports guy, right?
I am.
Earlier today, we were walking through Crystal Bridges. We walked through Get in the Game. Saw you light up. Thought maybe we could do this convo a little bit like a sports game.
Yep.
Started off sort of some drills, warm up, lightning round, quick answers.
Got it.
Get into game time. More
Got it.
serious conversation about where we are as a country, where we're going, what you're doing about it.
All right.
And then a little cool down. So you go home in the right headspace.
I definitely need the warm-up and the cool-down.
Okay.
We'll see how I perform during the game.
Okay. You ready?
I am.
Okay. What books, music, or art have been inspiring you lately?
What books, music, or art? Well, I'm in the middle of writing a book, and that's not inspiring. A friend of mine who's a very accomplished writer, I asked her once, "Do you enjoy writing?" She says, "No, I like having written.
Yeah.
I like when it's done." I have been listening to a lot of old stuff, Otis Redding, some Bob Dylan. I've been going back to some music that even my daughters will acknowledge is pretty good. In terms of reading, I have been, when I'm writing, it's hard for me to read anything policy related, so I tend to read fiction. I just finished a book called The Buffalo Hunter, which is a book of fiction about Americans, and a little violent.
But inspirational.
But inspirational. And I've been reading a biography of James Baldwin, which is outstanding, but it's very thick. So, yeah.
What's your news diet?
My news diet. You know what I don't have is a news feed. In fact, the entire time, people used to ask, "You seem so calm, Mr. President. Why is that? No drama, Obama." I said, that's because I don't watch the news. Now, it is genuinely true. I have not watched cable news in 15 years. And I don't scroll. I'm old school, and I read a pretty wide mix of publications. Yeah, I'll read Wall Street Journal. I'll read New York Times. I'll read the Atlantic or science magazines. That's where I get my information from.
Is there one outlet out there that you would consider the least bias, sort of the most straight news?
Here's the thing. I actually think that the mainstream news still does a very good job of just presenting facts. I think cable, regardless of the cable station, has fallen prey to the same economic imperatives that we're seeing in every other type of news, which is you are deliberately controversial, deliberately aggressive, deliberately trying to make people feel angry and aggrieved because that attracts attention. Now I'm talking about broadcast.
Yeah.
With respect to print media, I think actually there are a lot of good sources. It's trying to sort through the garbage that makes it difficult because there's so much noise out there.
I got you out of the lightning round mode. Best and worst parts about living in the White House?
Best parts, Truman balconies, a really nice view. South Lawn, Jefferson Monument, Washington Monument in the background. Very cool summer night sitting out there. Music, I mentioned earlier that we had these White House performances that would be on PBS. They'd rehearse the night before, and the East Room is right beneath the Treaty Room, which is my office, and was my office in the residence, and so you'd hear them practicing, and I could sneak down the back stairs, and you'd watch like Mick Jagger practicing with Robert Johnson Jr. or Justin Timberlake and Aretha Franklin doing something, and that was very cool. Worst part of living in the White House is just being trapped. This is a tip for everybody listening, because we live in an age that puts so much currency on fame and likes and Instagram and all that. Anonymity is not bad. The ability, what you miss most acutely and you don't fully understand is the pleasures of just walking around with people, or taking a drive, or going into a park, or what have you, and nobody's paying attention to you. And it's it's a high-class problem to have. I'm not suggesting that in any way it was, my biggest hardship. But I would have dreams. And I didn't have that many dreams in the White House because I was so dog-tired. When my head hit the pillow, I was out. I'd get those 5 hours, and then, I was back up. But I would have this recurring dream in which I would just be
Jr. invited iShowSpeed to his birthday, but things got out of control. Jr. had planned a calm, simple birthday. Just close family, cake, and a few fun games. But the moment Speed walked in, he looked around and said, "Bro, you're Cristiano Ronaldo's son. We ain't doing this quiet. I got you." Within minutes, it was like a movie scene. Supercars pulled up outside the house, and some of Speed's hot girls came too. A DJ rolled in with massive speakers blasting music, and then a helicopter actually landed in the backyard. Everyone stood there shocked, but Speed wasn't done. He walked up to Cristiano Jr. invited iShowSpeed to his birthday, but things got out of control. Jr. had planned a calm, simple birthday. Pulled out a pair of car keys and said, "Happy birthday, brother." It was a Ferrari, a real one. Jr. couldn't stop smiling. The party turned from chill to full-blown. If you love Speed or just like and comment CR7. Cristiano Jr. invited iShowSpeed to his birthday, but things got out of control. Jr. had planned a calm, simple birthday. Just close family, cake, and I want to buy a Ronaldo watch now. Right now? Yes, I don't care how much it costs. Ronaldo watch. I'm just going to go ahead. I want to buy a Ronaldo. I'm literally asleep. Somebody woke me up and was like, "Yo, check your Instagram comment." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And guess who told me happy birthday? The best birthday gift that I could ever receive, that I could ever ask for. The man himself, Cristiano Ronaldo. He told me happy birthday. I was like, "What the?" And I did a backflip. I'm literally asleep. Somebody woke me up and was like, 3, 2, 1. Happy birthday, Steve. Join me on the side. Cristiano Jr. invited iShowSpeed to his birthday. I want to buy a Ronaldo watch now. Go ahead, Smalls. Yeah. I'm literally asleep. 3, 2, 1. Happy birthday, Steve. Join me on the side. Cristiano.
Joe Biden is asleep. Kamala is at a dance party with Beyonce.
This is a tough business.
You're a tough guy, Jim.
It is, and we need to have a leader that is real tough. You're never going to be president of the United States.
The Democrats. Ooh, there was a mosquito. I don't want mosquitoes around me. I don't like mosquitoes. I don't like those mosquitoes. I never did. Okay, speaking of mosquitoes. Hello, Hillary. How are you doing? I'm challenging President Obama, my son Donald, my son Eric. Let's go, ladies. She's shocked that I picked her. So I'm going to say of shock.
I'm not thinking.
That's okay. I know you're not thinking. You never do.
I'm sorry?
No. I need water. Help me. I need water. I'm in trouble when I go.
Alright, little break time here. I'm going to give some input, commentary, and some fun facts about Trump that you might not know. But if you want to skip this entirely, you can click on the timestamps down below for a certain section. If you're liking the video so far and you have a specific quote or clip that you really enjoy, you can comment it down below. I check the comments constantly. I'd love to reply to you guys about that. If you like the video and want to see more of these, you can feel free to like and subscribe. Now, my favorite clip from this roast in the beginning, from Trump roasting everybody, well, there's a bunch of them. Obviously, the reporter one, where he told the lady,
They couldn't get 1/8 of an ounce, you know? They put an 1/8 of an ounce on, and she's gonna break the record for her mom, who's sitting in the front with her phone. I'm gonna break it. And she's out there. We're adding 1/8 of an ounce to each side. This record has stood, ladies and gentlemen, for 18 years. But she's gonna do it. She's looking to get into the Olympics, right? And she gets up and they put a little tiny thing like this, little thing. And my wife, by the way, my wife hates when I do this. The Olympics, right? And she gets up and they put a little tiny thing like this, little thing. And my wife, by the way, my wife hates when I do this. She said, you know, she's a very classy person, right? She said, it's so unpresidential. She said, but I did become president. She hates when I dance. I said, everybody wants me to dance. Darling, it's not presidential. She actually said, could you imagine FDR dancing? She said that to me. And I said, there's a long history that perhaps she doesn't know. Because he was an elegant fellow, even as a Democrat, right? He was the attack by Japan, you know, he was quite elegant, but he wouldn't be doing this. But nor would too many others. But she says, darling, please, the weightlifting is terrible. And I have to say this, the dancing they really like. She said, they don't like it, they're just being nice to you. I said, that's not right, there are too many others. But she says, darling, please, the weightlifting is terrible. And I have to say this, the dancing they really like. She said, they don't like it, they're just being nice to you. I said, that's not right. The place goes crazy. They're screaming, dance, what you said. But the weightlifting, but no, the girl gets up. And you see, I want to be more, but I have somebody watching. I want to be more effusive. I want to really, but she gets it. Drops the thing, walks off the stage crying, her mother's crying, her father's crying. Guy gets up. He said, have you lifted before? A little bit. And he walks up. Bing. He could have gone ding, 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 ding. I think it's 112 pounds, huh? It's crazy. Or the beautiful boxer. They have boxing now. And that have a young gentleman who transitioned. He's a very good boxer, but he wanted to be a woman, which is, you know, to each his own. Because I want to be very liberal when it comes to these subjects. I'm trying to get that vote. It's not an easy vote to get. It's very tough for me to get it. But he transitioned, and he transitioned. And the girl was a champion boxer from Italy, remember? She got up, first round. He hit her, boom, with a left. A left, for those, everybody here knows about. But a left, Lisa knows better than anybody. But a left is defense. He goes, boom. She's with a left. A left, for those, everybody here knows about. But a left, Lisa knows better than anybody. But a left is defense. He goes, boom. She's like, oh my. She walked in the corner, remember? She didn't go down, but she did everything else. But she said, I've never been hit like that before. I don't want to go out again. You can do it. You can do it. Bang. She walked off. She said, he happened to win the gold medal, that young woman. He won the gold medal. There were two transition people, they both won gold medals. The whole thing is ridiculous. You have policy on your side. They don't have policy on your side. Right? You have policy. And I saw this guy fighting like hell. The swimming records is ridiculous when you look at the swimming, any records. It's crazy. And it's so demeaning to women. Women are the, and for a long time, they refused to talk about it. They were embarrassed to talk about it. Now they do talk about it. They talk about it openly, but they have the worst policy on everything, open borders. We want open borders. They still want an open border. We did the greatest job ever on borders, and I think they forgot it. My guy said to me today, I have a great guy, Ross. He's the greatest speechwriter. He said, sir, let's not mention the border. Nobody cares about the border anymore. Can you believe it? This was the biggest, this was the biggest thing there was. Says to me, nobody cares about the border because it has a shelf life. I fixed the border. I fixed it in my first term, but now I really had to fix it. It was much worse, when I came into office. Millions and millions of people were pouring into our country, and I fixed it. And my guy, who's incredible, says, people don't want to hear it, sir. You've done that. The problem is people forget that I did it. They totally forget. They were talking about the other day, we don't like Donald Trump with this, we don't like Donald Trump with that. And somebody just out of the blue said, well, he did an unbelievable job. Who cares about that? They're saying, that's been done. What do we do about that, Mike? Everything you do?
Explore all open and upcoming ideas on yours.
And she's out there. We're adding 1/8 of an ounce. They couldn't get 1/8 of an ounce, They put. They put 1/8 of an ounce on, and she's gonna break the record for her mom, who's sitting in the front with her phone. I'm gonna break it. And she's out there. We're adding 1/8 of an ounce to each side. This record has stood, ladies and gentlemen, for 18 years. But she's gonna do it. She's looking to get into the Olympics, right? And she gets up, and they put a little tiny thing like this, little thing. And my wife, by the way, hates when I do this. The Olympics, right? And she gets up, and they put a little tiny thing like this, little thing. And my wife, by the way, hates when I do this. She said, she's a very classy person, right? She said, it's so unpresidential. I said, but I did become president. She hates when I dance. I said, everybody wants me to dance. Darling, it's not presidential. She actually said, could you imagine FDR dancing? She said that to me. And I said, there's a long history that perhaps she doesn't know. Because he was an elegant fellow. Even as a Democrat, right? He was the attack by Japan, he was quite elegant. But he wouldn't be doing this. But nor would too many others. But she says, darling, please, the weightlifting is terrible. And I have to say this, the dancing they really like. She's too many others. But she says, darling, please, the weightlifting is terrible. And I have to say this, the dancing they really like. She said, they don't like it, they're just being nice to you. I said, that's not right. The place goes crazy. They're screaming, dance, what you said. But the weightlifting, but no, the nuggets are. I want to be more effusive. I want to really, yeah. But she gets it, and drops the thing, walks off the stage crying. Her mother's crying, her father's crying. Guy gets up. He said, "Have you lifted before?" A little bit. And he walks up. He could have gone ding, 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 ding. I think it was 112 pounds. Huh? It's crazy. Or the beautiful boxer. They have boxing now. And that they have a young gentleman who transitioned. He's a very good boxer, but he wanted to be a woman, which is, to each his own. Because I want to be very liberal when it comes to these subjects. I'm trying to get that vote. It's not an easy vote to get. It's very tough for me to get it. But he transitioned, and he transitioned. And the girl was a champion boxer from Italy, remember? She got up, first round, he hit her, boom, with a left. A left, for those, everybody here knows about, but a left, Lisa knows, but the weightlifting, but no, the girl gets up. And you see, I want to be more, but I have somebody watching. I want to be more effusive. I want to really, yeah. But she gets it, and drops the thing, walks off the stage crying. Her mother's crying, her father's crying. Guy gets up. He said, "Have you lifted before?" A little bit. And he walks up. He could have gone ding, ding, ding. I think it was 112 pounds. Huh? It's crazy. Or the beautiful boxer. They have boxing now. And that they have a young gentleman who transitioned. He's a very good boxer, but he wanted to be a woman, which is, to each his own. Because I want to be very liberal when it comes to these subjects. I'm trying to get that vote. It's not an easy vote to get. It's very tough for me to get it. But he transitioned, and he transitioned. And the girl was a champion boxer from Italy, remember? She got up, first round, he hit her, boom, with a left. A left, for those, everybody here knows about, but a left, Lisa knows better than anybody, but a left is defense. He goes, boom. She's like, "Oh my." In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. No, get those lights off. Off. Turn them off. They're too bright. Turn them off. Turn them off. Let's go. Ready? Turn off the lights. Turn off the lights. Everybody's over. Nice and handsome and thin. Turn off the lights. Make sure everybody's over. Nice and handsome and thin. Perfect. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi is dead. Latin music superstar Nicky Jam. You know Nicky? She's hot. Where's Nicky? Where's Nicky? Thank you, Nicky. Great to be having you here. Now you have to get. Oh, look. I'm glad he came up. Total control. Bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bing, bing. You know that
This is a tough business
Oh,
to
yeah.
run for
I know.
president.
You're a tough guy, Jim.
And we need to have a leader that is.
I have a great relationship with the blacks. I've always had a great relationship with the blacks.
We won with young. We won with old. We won with highly educated. We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated. Jobs in the United States. From China. Darling, is the wind blowing today? The exception of Abraham Lincoln. Watch television, darling. Nobody has done more for the black community than Donald Trump. And if you look, with the exception of Abraham Lincoln, possible exception, but the exception of Abraham Lincoln, I will give him 10 strokes. She was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always
But you know
identified as a black.
We have to win in November, or we're not going to have Pennsylvania. They'll change the name. They're going to change the name of Pennsylvania. Like you go person, woman, man, camera, TV. So they say, could you repeat that? So I said, yeah. So it's person, woman, man, camera, TV. Okay, that's very good. If you get it in order, you get extra points. Silence of the Lambs. Has anyone ever seen the Silence of the Lambs? The late great Hannibal Lecter. He's a wonderful man. He oftentimes would have a friend for dinner. We are also praying for the people of Puerto Rico. We love Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico. He took showers with the other pros. They came out of there. They said, "Oh my God. That's unbelievable." Oh, look at my African American over here. Look at him. Are you the greatest? You know what I'm talking about? Okay. This is a tough hurricane. One of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water. I'll kiss every guy, man and woman. Man and woman. Look at that guy, how handsome he is. I'll kiss him. Not with a lot of enjoyment, but that's okay. I think we're going to have a good night tonight. We going home to watch television? I think we're going to have a good night tonight. I'm the one that brought back football. By the way, I brought back Big Ten football. It was me, and I'm very happy to do it. And people of Ohio are very proud of me. Where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible. I would say happy birthday, Kamala. She's turning 60.
Did you get her some fries?
I think I'll get her some flowers.
Why not to beat her?
Maybe I'll get her some fries. You're right. That might be. I'll give her some McDonald's. I'll get her a McDonald's hamburger.
Thank you.
Now, they're remaking Indiana Jones without Harrison Ford. You can't do that. And now they're making Ghostbusters with only women. What's going on?
Ready to level up your content? Generate high-quality, human-like voiceovers in seconds with 11 Labs. Perfect for videos, games, articles, and storytelling. Professional voices powered by 11 Labs.
The President of the United States going to take a wild journey through Donald Trump's first term as the 45th President of the United States.
Actually landed in the backyard. Everyone stood there. Everyone stood there. Everyone stood there. Cristiano Jr. invited iShow Speed to his birthday, but things got out of control. Jr. had planned a calm, simple birthday. Just close family, cake, and a few fun games. But the moment Speed walked in, he looked around and said, "Bro, you're Cristiano Ronaldo's son. We ain't doing this quiet. I got you." Within minutes, it was like a movie scene. Supercars pulled up outside the house, and some of Speed's hot girls came too. A DJ rolled in with massive speakers blasting music, and then a helicopter actually landed in the backyard. Everyone stood there shocked, but Speed wasn't done. He walked up to Junior, pulled out a pair of car keys, and said, "Happy birthday, brother." It was a Ferrari, a real one. Junior couldn't stop smiling. The party turned from chill to full-blown legendary. If you love Speed or Junior, like and comment CR7. Cristiano Jr. invited iShow Speed to his birthday, but things got out of control. Junior had planned a calm, simple birthday. Just close family, cake, and a few fun games. But the moment Speed walked in, he looked around. Cristiano Jr.
I'm literally asleep. Somebody woke me up and was like, "Yo, check your Instagram comment." I'm like, "What is you?" 3, 2, 1. Happy birthday, Steve. What?
Cristiano Jr. invited iShow Speed to his birthday, but things got out of...
I want to buy the Ronaldo watch now. Yes, I don't care how much it costs. Go ahead, Snipes.
Yeah, okay.
GG Prom. No, this whole thing right here, like the locker. What are you talking about? It's a locker. This isn't just any locker. I'm so confused right now.
This was Cristiano Ronaldo's locker. Yep. You gonna sniff it.
That's very sad. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Of course he got the biggest locker too. I think they're all the same size. Go ahead, Snipes.
Cristiano Jr. invited iShow Speed...
I want to buy the Ronaldo watch now.
States. Let's get started.
It looks like she went to shake his hand.
This press conference exchange showcases the 45th president's unique way of handling certain reporters.
Okay, question? Yeah, go ahead. Sure. She's shocked that I picked her. I gotta say you're shocked.
I'm not thinking of
That's
that.
okay, I know you're not thinking. You never do.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. She's shocked. was never considered a good senator. He was only a good vice president because he understood how to kiss Barack Obama's ass.
A diplomatic tango has two leaders engaged.
I'd love to see one of these NFL owners when somebody disrespects his flag. They say, get that son of a bitch off the field right now. Out. He's fired. He's fired.
The president's unfiltered communication style takes center stage in this press interaction.
It's up to him.
You want him to rein in Robert Mueller?
What a stupid question that is. What a stupid question. But I watch you a lot. You ask a lot of stupid questions.
Sometimes, a speaker's message lands differently than they anticipated.
Today I stand before the United Nations General Assembly to share the extraordinary progress we've made. In less than 2 years, my administration has accomplished more than almost any administration in the history of our country. America's so true. Didn't expect that reaction, but that's okay.
The art of the no deal when diplomacy meets awkward silence in the Oval Office.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, fellas. Fellas over here. Thank you. I just told him I've got to come over and see the fake news. Let's go. What do you have, John?
An unexpected turn of events showcases the complexities of international relations.
Said many times that the U.S. is doing far better than any other country when it comes to testing.
Yes.
Why does that matter? Why is this a global competition to you if every day Americans are still losing their lives and we're still seeing more cases every day?
Well, they're losing their lives everywhere in the world. And maybe that's a question you should ask China. Don't ask me, ask China that question, okay? When you ask them that question, you may get a very unusual answer. Yes, behind you, please.
Sir, why are you saying that to me specifically?
I'm telling you, I'm not saying it specifically to anybody. I'm saying it to anybody that would ask a nasty question like that.
That's not a nasty
question. Please go ahead.
Why does it matter?
Okay, anybody else? Please, go ahead in the back, please.
I have two questions.
No, it's okay.
But
We'll
you
go over
pointed
here.
to me. I have two questions, Mr.
Next,
President.
next, please.
But you called on me.
I did, and you didn't respond, and now I'm calling on
Sorry, I just
the
wanted
young lady in the back, please.
I just wanted to let my colleague finish.
Okay.
But can I ask you a
Ladies
question?
and gentlemen, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
The president's declaration against socialism had some feeling the barren, while others felt the chill.
Here in the United States, we are alarmed by the new call to adopt socialism in our country. America was founded on liberty and independence, and not government coercion, domination, and control. We are born free, and we will stay free. Tonight, we renew our resolve that America will never be a socialist country.
When your TV review turns into an impromptu character assessment.
Doing well, but here, I'll just show you this real quick, right? So this horrible journalist, she's a real, she's a Trump hater. She gets, what she's worth? 0 ratings. Nobody watches her. But she said, she was trying, look, Bloomberg made a fool out of himself last night. He choked. He's another one who's going, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Don't ask me the question. Please. I look at my wife, I said, let's send him a little note. It's not so easy up there to do what I did, right? Not so easy. But this woman who's a 3rd rate, 4th rate, she's been with everybody. Every year she's like with a different group, but I won't use her name because we'll make her too famous. It actually plays to their advantage, but she's 3rd rate, and she's on the lowest rated show on Fox, Neil Cavuto. So he lied, that's why. So she said, Donald Trump didn't get good ratings. He didn't do well in the polls. He said he didn't do well in the debates. She said that we were defeated in the debates. Well, I defeated crooked Hillary every time, and by a lot. So
The relationship between this president and the press was often contentious.
about Biden, what do you want me to look into on Biden? Look, Biden and his son are stone cold crooked, and you know it. His son walks out with millions of dollars. The kid knows nothing. You know it, and so do we. Go ahead, ask a question.
The question, sir, was what did you want President Zelensky to do about Vice President Biden and his son Hunter?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, it was just a follow-up of what I just asked you, sir.
Listen, you ready? We have the president of Finland. Ask him a question.
I have one for him. I just wanted to follow up on the one that I asked you, which
Did
was,
you hear
what
me?
did you want
Did you
him
hear me?
Yes,
ask him a question.
I will, but
I'm giving you a long answer. Ask this gentleman a question. Don't be rude.
No, sir, I don't want to be rude. I just wanted you to have a chance to answer the question that I asked
I've
you.
answered everything. It's a whole hoax. And you know who's playing into the hoax? People like you and the fake news media that we have in this country. And I say in many cases, the corrupt media, because you're corrupt. Much of the media in this country is not just fake, it's corrupt. And you have some very fine people, too. Great journalists, great reporters. But to a large extent, it's corrupt and it's fake. Ask the president of Finland a question, please.
Okay, I'll move on now.
Taking on big tech, Trump pulls no punches in his critique of Google.
The head of Google, who's a great gentleman, called us and he apologized. I don't know where the press got their fake news, but they got it someplace. But as you know, this is from Google. They put out a release, and you guys can figure it out yourselves and how that got out. And I'm sure you'll apologize. But it would be great if we could really give the news correctly. It would be so wonderful.
That moment when the Polish First Lady keeps everyone guessing with her handshake response. President Trump tells 60 Minutes about what he's learned since he took office.
Okay, so I always used to say the toughest people are Manhattan real estate guys and blah, blah. Now I say they're babies.
Who's
they're
the
babies? The political people. This is the most deceptive, vicious world. It is vicious. It's full of lies, deceit, and deception. You make a deal with somebody, and it's like making a deal with that table.
Give me an example.
Well, I don't want to give you an example. I'm not looking at. In the meantime, nobody's been able to do what I've been able to do. Remember that. When when you look at taxes, you look at regulations, you look at making deals with other countries, nobody's been able to do anything like this. Actually, most people didn't even try because they knew they didn't have the ability to do it. But it's a very deceptive world. The other thing I've really learned is I never knew how dishonest the media was. I really mean it. I'm not saying that as a soundbite. I never knew how dishonest.
I'm going to change the subject again.
Well, no, but even the way you asked me a question, like about separation.
Yeah.
When I say Obama did it, you don't want to talk about it.
No.
When I say I did it, let's make a big deal.
I'm going to run your answer, but you did it 4 times.
I'm just telling you that you treated me much differently on the subject.
I disagree, but I don't want to have that fight with you.
Hey,
All right,
it's
we're
okay.
having another fight with you.
Leslie, it's okay. In the meantime, I'm president and you're not.
Expect fireworks as Trump and CNN reporters go head-to-head in this heated exchange.
One of the statements that you made in the tail end of the campaign in the midterms that
here we go.
That if you don't mind, Mr. President, that this caravan was an invasion. As you know, Mr.
I
President,
consider it to be an
as you know,
invasion.
Mr. President, the caravan was not an invasion. It's a group of migrants moving up from Central America towards the border with the U.S.
Thank you for telling
and
me that.
why did you characterize it as such?
Because I consider it an invasion. You and I have a difference of opinion.
But do you think that you demonized immigrants in
Not
this
at all.
election
No, not
to
at
try
all.
to
I want them to come into the country, but they have to come in legally. You know, they have to come in through a process. I want it to be a process, and I want people to come in, and we need the people.
Your campaign.
Wait. You know why we need the people, don't you? Because we have hundreds of companies moving in. We need the people.
But your campaign had an ad showing migrants climbing over walls and
Well,
so
that's
on.
true. But they weren't actors.
They're not going to be doing that.
They weren't actors. Well, no, it's true. Do you think they were actors? They weren't actors. They didn't come from Hollywood. These were people. This was an actual. You know, it happened a few days ago, and
they're hundreds of miles away. Though they're hundreds and hundreds of miles away. That's not an invasion.
Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
All right.
And if you did it well, your ratings
Let me
would be
ask,
much
if
better.
I may ask one other question, Mr. President. If I may ask
Peter,
one
go
other
ahead.
question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's
Mr.
enough.
President, I was going to ask one of the other folks.
That's
have had,
enough.
Pardon me, ma'am. Mr. President,
that's enough.
Mr. President, I have one other
Peter,
question,
let's
if
go.
I may ask, on the Russia investigation. Are you concerned that you may have?
I'm not concerned
indictments-
about anything with
that you
the
may have
Russian
indictments coming
investigation because it's a hoax.
Are you?
That's enough. Put down the mic.
Mr. President, are you worried about indictments coming down in this investigation? Mr. President.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Go ahead.
I think that's unfair.
You're a very rude person. The way you treat Sarah Huckabee is horrible. And the way you treat other people are horrible. You shouldn't treat people that way. Go ahead. Go ahead, Peter, go ahead.
In Jim's defense, I've traveled with him and watched him. He's a diligent reporter who busts
Well,
his
I'm not
butt
a big
like the
fan
rest
of
us.
yours either, so
I understand.
to be honest.
So let me ask you a question if I can. You repeatedly said...
You aren't the best.
Mr. President, you repeatedly, over the course of the...
just sit down, please. But when you report fake news, when you report fake news, which CNN does a lot, you are the enemy of the people. Go ahead.
Mr. President, over the course of the last several days of the campaign, sir, at the end of the campaign, you repeatedly said that Americans need to fear Democrats. You said Democrats would unleash a wave of violent crime that endangers families everywhere. Why are you
Because
pitting
they're very weak on
Americans?
crime.
Why are you pitting Americans
Peter.
against one another, sir?
Peter, what are you trying to be him?
No, I'm
Peter,
just asking the question.
Let me just tell you. Very simple. Because they're very weak on crime.
Trump decides it's time to cut the interview short. See how he handles the situation swiftly.
I just wanted to find out, though, you're the President of the United States. You said he was sick and bad because he attacked you.
You can take it any way you want.
But I'm asking you, because you don't want it to be fake news. I want to hear it from President Trump.
You don't have to ask me.
Why not?
Because I have my own opinions. You can have your own opinions.
But I want to know your opinions. You're the President of the United States.
It's enough. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Trump spills some intriguing behind-the-scenes stories about his time with NBC. No spoilers, but it's quite revealing.
Bunch of dishonest people. Comcast. Terrible company. Terrible people running that company. And you know what? I had Celebrity Apprentice. I had The Apprentice on for 14 seasons. 14 seasons. And they used to come to my office and they would kiss my ass. Please sign. Please stop. Please. Please stop.
The 45th president shows he's not afraid to call out what he perceives as dishonest media.
No. John Roberts, go ahead. CNN's fake news. I don't take questions. I don't take questions from CNN. CNN is fake news. I don't take questions from CNN. John Roberts of Fox. Let's go to a real network. John, let's go.
We're a real network too, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President.
When questioned about his claims, the commander-in-chief demonstrates his unique way of handling tough questions from the media.
So we'll see what happens. I think this is going to be a real wake-up call for the Democrats and for the public. People are very angry about it. Very, very angry. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah.
What evidence do you have that these are hardened criminals?
Oh, please, don't be a baby. Okay, take a look. Okay, just take a look. Look at what's happening. Look at the Mexican soldiers that are laying on the ground. Take a look. These are hardened, I didn't say in all cases, but in many cases, these are hardened criminals. These are tough people. And I don't want them in our country. And neither does our country want them in our country. Okay? Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
The real estate mogul turned president brings his cost-cutting mindset to international diplomacy.
Very direct with Secretary Stoltenberg and members of the alliance in saying that NATO members must finally contribute their fair share and meet their financial obligations. But 23 of the 28 member nations are still not paying what they should be paying and what they are supposed to be paying for their defense. This is not fair to the people and taxpayers of the United States. And many of these nations owe massive amounts of money from past years and not paying in those past years. Over the last 8 years, the United States spent more on defense than all other NATO countries combined. If all NATO members had spent just 2% of their GDP on defense last year, we would have had another $119 billion for our collective defense and for the financing of additional NATO reserves. We should recognize that with these chronic underpayments and growing threats, even 2% of GDP is insufficient to close the gaps in modernizing, readiness, and the size of forces. We have to make up for the many years lost. 2% is the bare minimum for confronting today's very real and very vicious threats. If NATO countries made their full and complete contributions, then NATO would be even stronger than it is today, especially from the threat of terrorism. I want to extend my appreciation to the 9/11 Memorial and Museum in New York for contributing this remnant of the North Tower, as well as to Chancellor Merkel and the German people for donating this portion of the Berlin Wall. It is truly fitting that these two artifacts now reside here so close together at the new NATO headquarters. And I never asked once what the new NATO headquarters cost. I refuse to do that. But it is beautiful. Each one marks a pivotal event in the history of this alliance and in the eternal battle between good and evil. She's going to win 10 million to 1. She's going to win. I'm telling you, Peter. I'm telling you, Peter, she's going to win, Peter. Oh, I love you so much. I love you, Peter. I love you too, Lisa. Lisa, I love you. Lisa. Lisa. Oh, God, I love you, Lisa. And if she doesn't win, Lisa, We've got an insurance policy, Lisa. We'll get that son of a bitch out. We got an insurance policy. And we're living through the insurance policy. That's what it is.
A touching moment unfolds as the president shows his softer side. The president takes a jab at a political rival, much to the delight of his supporters.
Listen, what am I doing? I shouldn't say it. That's all right. Because she had those burning embers, and then she started, but ultimately she's gone, sir. But she was really mean to Minnie Mike. I'll tell you, the way she treated him. He didn't know what hit him. He's going, oh, get me off of this stage. Get me off. Get me off of this stage.
The U.S. president helps his French counterpart look his best on the world stage.
Finally, it's not fake news. So it's a great honor that you're here. But we do have a very special relationship. In fact, I'll get that little piece of dandruff for we have to make him perfect. He is perfect. So it is really great to be with you, and you are a special friend. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. President. I want to thank President Trump and your country, your people, for this very warm welcome, this wonderful ceremony.
The art of the compliment meets the art of the deal.
Very nice. Getting a good picture of everybody, so we look nice and handsome and thin.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
The president's media labeling strategy extends even to tough interviews, showing his consistent stance.
But when you talk about mortality rates, I think it's the opposite. I think we have one of the lowest mortality rates in the world. We're going to take a look.
We had 900 deaths in a single day.
We will take a look.
This week.
Ready?
You can check it out.
Please get me the mortality rate?
Yeah.
Kaylee's right here. I heard we have one of the lowest, maybe the lowest mortality rate anywhere in the world. Do you have the numbers, please? Because I heard we had the best mortality rate. Number one low mortality rate. I hope you show this scenario because it shows what fake news is all about. Okay,
I don't think I'm fake news, but I will.
Trump's statement highlights his focus on results over public perception.
I had one beer. Well, you think it was... Nope, it was one beer. Oh, good. How did you get home? I don't remember. How'd you get there? I don't remember. Where is the place? I don't remember. How many years ago was it? I don't know.
And you mimicked Professor Blasey Ford. You mimicked her.
Had I not made that speech, we would not have won. I was just saying she didn't seem to know anything.
No,
and you're trying to destroy a life of a man who has been extraordinary.
Why did you have to make fun of her?
I didn't really make fun.
Well, they were
What I
laughing.
said is the person that we're talking about didn't know the year, the time, the place.
Professor Blasey Ford got before the Senate and was asked, what's the worst moment? She said, when the two boys laughed at me, at my expense.
Okay.
And then I watched you mimic her, and thousands of people were laughing at her.
They can do what they... I will tell you, the way now Justice Kavanaugh was treated has become a big factor in the midterms. Have you seen what's gone on with the polls?
But did you have to...
Well, I think she was treated with great respect.
I know,
I'll be honest.
But do you think
There
you
are those that
treated
think
her
she
with-
shouldn't have been.
Do you think you treated her with great
I
respect?
think so, yeah. I did.
But you seem to be saying that she lied.
You know what? I'm not going to get into it because we won. It doesn't matter. We won.
The president's optimistic promises about potential treatments lead to a heated exchange.
It may work and it may not work. And I agree with the doctor what he said. May work, may not work. I feel good about it. That's all it is, just a feeling. I'm a smart guy. I feel good about it. And we're going to see. You're going to see soon enough.
Nearly 200 dead,
14,000 who are sick, millions, as you witnessed, who are scared right now. What do you say to Americans who are watching you right now who are scared?
I say that you're a terrible reporter. That's what I say.
Go ahead.
I think it's a very nasty question, and I think it's a very bad signal that you're putting out to the American people. The American people are looking for answers, and they're looking for hope. And you're doing sensationalism, and the same with NBC and Comcast. I don't call it Comcast. I call it Concast. Let me just for whom you work. Let me just tell you something. That's really bad reporting, and you ought to get back to reporting instead of sensationalism.
Et à tous les combattants venus du monde entier,
Came from around the
elle
world.
s'incline devant leur grandeur.
It recognizes their greatness.
La France
France
salue avec respect et
respectfully and
gravité
solemnly pays
les
tribute
morts des autres nations
to those
que jadis
from
elle a
other
combattues.
countries who died for
Elle se-
France.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you very much.
No, not you. Right here.
Thank you, Mr. President. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle chimed in on the U.S. election and essentially encouraged people to vote for Joe Biden. I want to get your reaction to that.
I'm not a fan of hers, and I would say this, and she probably has heard that, but I wish a lot of luck to Harry. She's going to need it.
Mr. President, the FDA is reportedly considering
Rallygoers are treated to some of the president's most memorable catchphrases, delivered with his signature flair.
Nobody likes Trump. No, but we have a lot of great support. We really do. We have a lot of great support. Far more than you think. But where we really have the support are the voters that pull that handle or whatever the hell they're pulling. They're pulling it for us. So, the Russia hoax proves more than ever that we need to finish exactly what we came here to do. Drain the swamp. The Democrats have to now decide whether they will continue defrauding the public with ridiculous bullshit.
Come on. There's not another serious scientist in the world who thinks it's going to be over soon.
President Trump, your reaction?
Say over soon. I say we're learning to live with it. We have no choice. We can't lock ourselves up in a basement like Joe does. He has the ability to lock himself up. I don't know. He's obviously made a lot of money someplace, but he has this thing about living in a basement. People can't do that. By the way, I, as the president, couldn't do that. I'd love to put myself in the basement or in a beautiful room in the White House and go away for a year and a half until it disappears. Come on, Joe, you could do better.
We're going to talk about North Korea.
And I'd stop giving to the oil industry, I'd stop giving them federal subsidies. He won't give federal subsidies to the gas, to solar and wind.
Yeah.
Why are we giving it to oil industry?
We actually do
All
give
right.
it to solar and wind.
We
And
have
that's
one
maybe the
final
biggest
question.
statement in terms of business. That's the biggest statement.
Okay.
Because
We have
basically
one
what he's
final
saying
question,
is he is
Mr.
going to
President.
destroy the oil industry. Will you remember that, Texas? Will you
Okay.
remember that, Pennsylvania, Oklahoma?
Vice President Biden, let me give you 10 seconds to respond, and then I have to get to the...
Even in serious settings, the commander-in-chief finds moments for levity, this time with a quip about a reporter's family history.
In the evening. If a guest comes out and says something positive about me, it's brutal. Now, they'll take this news conference. I'm actually having a very good time, okay? But they'll take this news conference. Don't forget, that's the way I won. Remember, I used to give you a news conference every time I made a speech, which was like every day. Okay? No, that's how I won. I won with news conference and probably speeches. I certainly didn't win by people listening to you people, that's for sure. But I'm having a good time. Tomorrow they will say, Donald Trump rants and raves at the press. I'm not ranting and raving. I'm just telling you, you're dishonest people. But, I'm not ranting and raving. I love this. I'm having a good time doing it. But tomorrow the headlines are going to be, Donald Trump rants and raves. I'm not ranting and raving. Go ahead.
Just one more follow-up.
Should I let him
because
have
of
a
this.
little bit more? What do you think,
Just
Peter?
because of this.
Peter, should I let him have a little bit more? Sit down. Sit down.
Just because of the attack of fake news and attacking our network, I just want to ask you, sir.
I'm changing it from fake news, though.
doesn't that undermine?
Very fake news.
I know, but aren't you?
Go ahead.
Real news, Mr. President. Real news.
And you're not related to our new.
I am not related, sir. No. I do like the sound of Secretary Acosta. I must.
You know, I looked at that name. I said, "Wait a minute. Is there any relation there, Alex Acosta?"
I'm sure you checked that out, sir.
No, I checked it. They said, "No, sir." I said, "Do me a favor. Go back and check the family tree."
But aren't you concerned, sir, that you are undermining?
The president's nicknames for his opponents are as colorful as ever.
Outside too. We have a poll. Are you ready? Who do I? So in other words, who's the weaker of the two? I'm not interested in who does better. No, I'm not interested. Wait. So, ready? In other words, who do I want to run against? Meaning, very simple. We put it into nice, simple language. Who the hell is easier to beat? Right? So, who is easier for us, not me, for us to beat? Ready? Crazy Bernie? Or Sleepy Joe? I don't know. I think maybe Crazy Bernie has it a little bit. Now, once more, just quick, ready? He said it doesn't matter, you're beatable. I hope so. I hope so. So who is easier to beat? Crazy Bernie? Or Sleepy Joe? They think Bernie's easier to beat. So whether it's Bernie Sanders' plan to eliminate private health care, Elizabeth Warren's plan, I told you that I had more Indian blood in me than her, even though I have none. I have none. Zero. I have none. I said I have more Indian blood in me than she has. And she choked. She said, I'm going to show. She hired this company, and they went out and did a blood test. 1,024th, right? So that means I probably won somewhere down the line 1,000,000 years ago. I'm telling you, that was horrible. She choked. We don't want a person to win that chokes. We don't want a choke artist, right? One thing you will say about me, I'm not a choker with all these people for years. They're after me for years. We can't have chokers. We can't have chokers as your president, so...
In a controversial moment, Trump doesn't hold back, even suggesting where he thinks John Dingell might be now.
Debbie Dingell, that's a real beauty. So she calls me up like 8 months ago. Her husband was there a long time. But I didn't give him the B treatment. I didn't give him the C or the D. I could have. Nobody would have, you know. I gave the A+ treatment. Take down the flags. Why are you taking them down? Ex-Congressman Dingell. Oh, okay. Do this, do that, do that. Rotunda, everything. I gave him everything. That's okay. I don't want anything for it. I don't need anything for anything. She calls me up. It's the nicest thing that's ever happened. Thank you so much. John would be so... He's looking down. He'd be so... Thank you so much, sir. I said, that's okay. Don't worry about it. Maybe he's looking up. I don't know. Maybe. But let's assume he's looking down. But I gave him A+, not A, not B+, not B. I gave him the A+. And she called me so nice. Oh, I won't go into the conversation because it's not fair to do that.
Trump's attempt at pronouncing a Greek name brings some unexpected humor to the celebration.
I was very upset when I didn't see you here, Elaine. Secretary of Transportation. She's fantastic. Maybe George can build you a couple of roads, right? Under budget and ahead of schedule, okay? Also here today with us is Aphrodite Skiadas. For more than 40 years, Aphrodite has served the Greek Orthodox Ladies Philoptochus Society. I worked on that when I had to get it right. I don't know if I did or not, but I tried.
The the leader of the free world offers a surprising perspective on a young climate activist's recognition.
You were the keynote speaker here, but you shared some of the spotlight with a Scandinavian teenager, Greta Thunberg.
Oh, that's right. No.
Who you had said needs to work on her anger. She had some very harsh words.
I didn't say anger, I said anger management.
She had some very strong words here that the United States and other industrialized countries need to do more. Do you still feel that you're doing enough?
How old is she?
She's 17 now.
That's good.
But what is your response to
She
her?
beat me out on Time Magazine.
But did you hear from other world leaders and business leaders who said that they think that she has a message that
No, I didn't actually. But I would have loved to have seen her speak. Beto, did you hear? Beto. Oh, that poor bastard. Well, poor pathetic guy. He was pathetic. Remember the arms are flailing. It's all. Remember that? You know? He ran against Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz won. He spent almost $100 million. And Ted Cruz and I helped Ted, and we campaigned together, and it was good. But I used to watch him. Then when he came onto the really big stage, this crazy stage, I noticed he was flailing with the arms, and he was standing on tables. He was standing on countertops. I said, does he ever stand on the floor and speak? But he's waving his arms and going crazy, and I said, what the hell is he doing? What is he on? And do you remember he made the statement that he was born for this? Anybody that says he was born for this, they're in trouble. You know, I used to have guys come into my office, sir, I'm the greatest salesman. Nobody can sell. You know, the truth is, anybody that says they're a great salesman, usually they're not a very good salesman. It's true. It's those sneaky ones in the back that don't talk. That you don't know about. They're the ones. But Beto was nasty. And he said that he was born for it. Like he was born from heaven. He came down. And if that's the case, some really bad things happened because he made a total fool out of himself. Excuse me. Somebody had to do it.
Script, and in his element, Trump delivers a speech that keeps his audience on their toes.
And you know, I don't know, maybe you know, I'm totally off script, right? Thank you, darling. You know I'm totally off script right now. And this is how I got elected, by being off script. And if we don't go off script, our country's in big trouble, folks. We have so much money. We can do whatever we wanted. We built forces up that were incredible. Then in 1913, they ended tariffs, okay? They ended tariffs. Somebody got stupid, and they ended tariffs. They said, oh, it's okay for other nations to come in. I won't use a certain word because it's not politically, but everybody knows the word I'd love to use. Should I use it? I won't do it. Our great First Lady always said, don't use certain words, please. I say, but the audience wanted me to do it. She said, don't do it. And the problem is if I do that, they won't put the little preamble that we just went through. They'll just use the word, and they'll say, isn't that terrible? So I won't use it. I've learned, because with the fake news, if you tell a joke, if you're sarcastic, if you're having fun with the audience, if you're in live television with millions of people and 25,000 people in an arena, and if you say something like, Russia, please, if you you can, get us Hillary Clinton's emails. Please, Russia, please. Please get us the emails. Please. So everybody's happy.